Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to a match reaction of Liverpool beating Aston Villa 3-0. It's nice to actually go out of a game and have 3 points, and it was kind of not a worrying game at all from start to finish. Maybe the most worrying part was going into the game, and it is mostly positives from me today. I'm going to first and foremost, I like to do a bit of an opposition analysis on these videos, because if the opposition weren't good, that matters. And I don't think Aston Villa were great. I don't think they offered too much offensively. And I think defensively, Pau Torres making that mistake for the first goal, gave the ball away a couple of times. And they just didn't really find cohesion. They got battered by Newcastle. I think they were there for the taking. And I think we noticed playing Darwin Núñez, the high line that they go with sometimes. And they tried to reserve it a little bit more throughout the game. But it just reminded me of a B-Tech version of us, I'll be honest with you. And Aston Villa, they've got quality. And they've certainly got some sort of cohesion there. They just haven't found it yet, and thankfully they didn't find it today. But in terms of our position, there's so many positives to get out of today's game. Defensively, we looked good, considering we had no Virgil van Dijk or Konate. I thought Kwanzaa came on and done a job as well. Joe Gomez, good game. Matip, good game. I thought Matip was probably the most impressive out of the 2 centre-backs, but overall I thought they both just done really, really sound. Robertson didn't really have a hell of a lot to deal with, and for that reason I think it was just one of those standard Robertson performances. And I think the reason why you see Robertson having a lot of those fine performances, but it didn't really look like he stood out either, is because he doesn't get attacked. Nobody really thinks it's worth going down that side, and we seem to be more solidified on that side. So, Diaz is great when it comes to tracking back as well, so he's always a big help. But the biggest impressive thing for me today, outside of the defence, was the midfield. The midfield, McAllister does so well in that holding role in possession. Out of possession, if we were attacked a little bit more and there was a bit more threat coming from the opposition, I think you've got something to question there with McAllister playing that role. But overall, on the ball, I think we went into the game knowing if we can control the game and dictate the play, McAllister's going to be so important being in that role. It's why when I think Thiago comes back, if he comes back and has a consistent run of games, because his injuries he's got another one, hasn't he? There's me defending him, and it's like, well, actually, he's not playing at all. But yeah, I think McAllister can do a job there. I think when Thiago comes back, Klopp might look to exercise him in that position. So yeah, that was sound as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I thought, had a good game, carrying the ball into the midfield an excessive amount of times, and I liked the fact he was trying things. I know we never hit the target. I know we never got the bar or anything like that. But overall, I think, I like the fact he was trying long shots. There was the play where Szoboszlai led it off to Trent, and he came in and it just went wide. And then there was another one that went over the bar where he carried it all the way to the final third. And it didn't go in, but at the same time, I want to see Trent trying those things more. I want him to go for those big moments, and not to a point where it's a detriment to the team, but I think sometimes, if he just had to go a little bit more, it'd be good. And we look a lot more expansive. We look a lot more flexible. We look like we're enjoying our football. And how dare I go 5 minutes or 3 minutes into this video and not talk about Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is an amazing breath of... what is it? What's the phrase that I'm looking for? Breath of fresh air? Breath of fresh air. I think that's right, innit, chat? Let me know in the comments down below. Szoboszlai is amazing. He's a great Hungarian, beautiful man. His haircut's on point. He oozes confidence. He's just an amazing dude who's really, really good at football. And that goal epitomises the type of player you can expect from Szoboszlai. Someone who knows where the sweet spot is on the ball. He knows how to link up the play. He knows how to find a good pass. I thought today it weren't even his best all-round performance, but his performance itself was still good. And that goal was amazing. And when you can combine good and world-class performances with world-class goals, you can afford to have a 7 out of 10 if you're scoring goals like that, you know what I'm saying? And, the first 3 games of the season, I thought he was great. I thought he was great against Newcastle, Bournemouth, and also against Chelsea. So today, he just never put a foot wrong, and that's what you get with Szoboszlai. He's just certified. He's guaranteed quality in the pitch. And I think, everybody else looks so much happier having Szoboszlai there. They look at him and they go, do you know what? He's actually a serious dude, and he raises my level because he's not doing anything wrong. I don't want to do anything wrong. And don't say that that's not an example. The way to be an example is by doing your job and by doing it excessively well. And Szoboszlai seems to be one of those. Not only does he do the bare minimum, but he does more than the bare minimum. He tries things, and he's got the quality to try them. And because he tries them and he's got the quality, you get the output. And that's what I love about that dude. And I just think that, he, out of all the signings, in the summer. He felt like the superstar. When we signed him, I sat there, I came on stream and I said, this is the dude that I'm most excited about. If anybody is going to be a game-changing signing, it's that dude. McAllister for different reasons, but in terms of a game changer, someone who can make a difference in those finite moments, Szoboszlai is that and more. And we saw that today. He changed the course of the game with an early goal, and it was such a clinical take and finish. Martinez's boots were stuck in the mud. It was brilliant, and I'm so proud of him for that. And I thought Curtis didn't do great, but McAllister and Szoboszlai, I thought they were good. Curtis, I was a bit confused, but I thought I was going to see McAllister again and maybe Endo play the 6. I don't know if maybe because Endo didn't have a great game against Newcastle, Klopp thought, you know what, let me wait a little bit longer before I play him. Or if stylistically this just was a game that we wanted to play on the ball, which would have made sense. But now talking about the front three, Darwin Núñez is a big topic of conversation going into the game. I made up that Salah got the goal off the back of a Darwin Núñez assist. I thought Diaz done his bits well. But let's talk about Darwin Núñez, who had probably the most impact out of all the front three. And going into the game, he was the topic of conversation. People were buzzing to see him start. And the only thing I ever say about Darwin, if he was more clinical, because what he does, he makes the hard chances look so easy and he makes the easy chances look too difficult. And if he was just a bit more clinical on a regular basis, you have got somebody who was going to generate insane numbers. That's not a negative on Darwin. I thought he was a bright spark today. I thought he gave us something different. I thought he was the right choice to go with. Seeing how the game panned out. Going into the game, I might have went with Gakpo myself, but seeing how the game panned out, I thought it was a good choice to go with Darwin. He was a headache. He was constant. He's a chance magnet. If he was a chance converter to just a slightly higher level, oh my goodness, the player you've got at your disposal there is wild, chat. And that's why you've got to say, even if you're someone who's critical, if you're like me and you've been critical on Darwin, and let's say you still think he's bad because he missed a few chances, just try and bear with Klopp and see what he does. If he can get Darwin enough chances, then we're going to see a lot of goals being scored. The worry, I think, comes with Darwin is if he's getting the majority of our chances and he's not scoring them like today, then we might have an issue. And you know, I've only ever claimed that I think off the bench he's great, and when you give him less time to think, when it's more of those instinctive finishes, you know, the headers, he's good with a header, he likes a header. Even today, that corner, the assist, it was instinctive. It was like, if I knock this on, something can happen. He knew he couldn't get a header onto goal, but he knew there was going to be someone behind him. That's important. He's reactive. The goal against Real Madrid in the Champions League, where we got battered at Anfield, Darwin Núñez, where he done the little flick, an instinctive finish. You think about the 2 goals against Newcastle, everything happened so quick, he had no time to think. The finishing angle was quite difficult, and you got 2 world-class goals. Well, the first one was world-class, the second one was really good. But all round, he created things today for his teammates to a small degree, but the bigger degree was when you're seeing how many chances he received and how often he gets in the right position. That's what he does really well. He's a headache. He gets in the right position. From those aspects, he's a top striker. And for what we are right now, which is a team that we could be in a title challenge. I wouldn't put my money on it at all, but we could be in a title challenge, chap, because 3 wins out of the first 4 games. Great, you know what I mean? And Darwin could be a big part of that. I'm going to let you know my biggest worry about sustaining the title race. It's good winning 3 games out of your first 4. It's good being unbeaten in like 14 or 15 league games. But there is still one big problem that I'm going to mention. But to conclude my Darwin Núñez talk, I'm happy with him today. He was one of my brighter outsparks. I've probably edged man of the match to a Szoboszlai. I thought Salah was really good today. I thought Trent done his part as well. Defensively, I thought the centre-backs had a lot to shout about. But because my man of the match is Szoboszlai, I'd go with Darwin Núñez being a very close second or third. I thought he was solid in many ways. Let me know what you thought of Darwin, because I know there's going to be frustration with the chances missed, but we know that there's deficiencies in that department. If it is just somehow, I don't know how you work on finishing at 23, 24. I don't know how you do it. Because from my experience, and I can only talk from my experience, I tend to notice finishers being developed finishers at a young age. You know what I'm saying? I just think you've got that ability to do it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? But if systematically, like Salah's not a world-class finisher. He gets a world-class amount of goals, but he's not someone who you'd say is, you give him 10 chances, he scores 7 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you give him 10 chances, he's scoring maybe 3, 2 or something like that. And that's great because Salah's so persistent. He gets in the right positions. And him and Núñez have a great dynamic. One thing I like, because I thought, because Salah was the outlet before, and he was the main outlet, he weren't the only one getting chances, but he was getting the majority of them. I thought him and Núñez was going to be both that, and I thought it's a problem if you haven't got any out-and-out finishes there. But They both get goals. They both get in the right positions. If they can continue to develop that partnership, you could see something quite special. If Salah stays, of course, because fucking hell, do you know the amount of times I'm seeing Sky Sports and all these main media outlets rinsing the Salah news? I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's probably not even going to go, and you're there talking about it mid-game like as if it's his send-off. Salah just didn't look there. Salah came on today looking like he was ready for a full Premier League season and that he was chasing the golden boot. That's what it seemed like to me. So I think he's going to stay because it's his decision, ultimately. I don't think the club are going to accept an offer either. I think this is this Salah talk is on pause until the summer. The one problem I had today, I don't want to be negative after the win, but this is my just honest, critical opinion on what I saw that was slightly worrying at least. It was the fact that, injuries, Trent came off at the end of the game. It might not be serious, so I'm not going to make a big debacle until I hear from the manager. But just, let's say if it was even slightly bad, let's say if it was bad enough to miss one game, that is now one game that you're going to be missing Konate, Virgil van Dijk, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Bear in mind, Conor Bradley kind of unknowingly and quietly got an injury, and he's going to be out for quite a while, so he's not going to be available anytime soon. That means 2 right-backs potentially out, which also means Gomez is now having to cover for not only centre-back, but right-back as well. And now if he's going to have to cover for right-back, which he's going to fucking have to, we don't have Milner no more, so Milner can't step in and do a right-back role. And Endo, I don't think that we're going to use him as a right-back. I think Milner was trusted to be wherever on the pitch. He played fucking left back for the season and done well, for fuck's sake, so that's why Milner was trusted. Endo, even though apparently he can play there, he hasn't played there for the majority of his career, and he's played, I think, every game for the past 4 years at CDM. So even though he might be able to do a job, it's not the main job. So what we're probably going to see, if Trent was to be out, is Gomez at right back and Kwanzaa at centre back. That's a problem. You know what I mean? You've got Gomez and Matip being regular starters for one. They're a fucking second away from tripping down the stairs and losing a leg. And then you've got Kwanzaa, who, listen, although shows massively promising signs and qualities and attributes that a centre back needs, he seems to have a good reading of the game as well. Physicality is great, but again, he's young, he's fresh. Are we going to rely on him to do a Reece Williams? Are we going to rely on him to do a Nat Phillips? That's my one worry when it comes to sustaining a title charge. If you're going to sustain a title charge, you need to go and get more centre-backs and more reinforcements. And we didn't take that opportunity. Maybe we will in the friggin' January transfer window, possibly. But again, I think you're playing a risky game if you're going to be going into 14 Premier League games or so. Go before January. I don't know how many Premier League games it is until January, but let's say it's 10 to 12, 14. You're going into those games with massive under preparation, and that to me is a risk that might not be worth taking if it costs you a couple of points away from the league title here or there, if that's what we're going to compete for, or let's even say it's top 4. But let me know what you think in the comments down below about the game. Give me your man of the matches and stuff like that. But let's be positive. That's a good win. That's a big W. Big up the Reds. I think they've done a good job today, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the job that they've done, and I hope most people are as well, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, smash a like. Up the tower, Wizzy. Up the friggin' Szoboszlai. And I'll see you all later. Sayonara.